Founded in the midst of the civil rights movement, Plan of Action for Challenging Times has been providing support to underserved students and students of color since 1963.
I'm one of the founders of PACT, along with Henry Lucas. Of course, you know, we started 60 years ago. This was before there was any diversity. I mean, diversity was a bad word, you know, and almost zero representation in the businesses that were downtown.
When you really take the heart out of a community, you remove the tissue that holds people together. You know, out of that brokenness also came, you know, men and women of distinction who were really looking at the situation and planting seeds for a forward view. When Hank Lucas and Everett Brandon came together, two young, really smart, brilliant men, and really thought about the economic conditions of Black people in the Bay Area. They were really looking at the conditions that would be needed in order to create a prosperous community.
Originally launched in San Francisco, pioneering one of the first federal Department of Education programs in the West Coast, PACT services have expanded to the East Bay in the new millennium.
I just remember them always getting together, meetings at the house, meetings wherever, talking about what is it we can do for our community, right? So the whole goal of PACT was to help define a space where first generation folks could come who were looking to go to college. My dad was the first in his family to go to college, so it was really important to him. And I know when he first moved here and met Everett and met Dan and all the other folks that were here to really try to pioneer that, they all kind of came together and said, you know, we got to do this.
And then we began to become very clear that if our people didn't have a college education, then we're not going to be able to qualify for many of the jobs that we were getting now. And then we're not going to be able to qualify for the jobs for the future. And so we need to do something about that. We need to get into trying to prepare people for college. And that's how we got into the area of developing students to go to college and taking them through the rigid requirements, the ADG requirements that the colleges were requiring, and taking them through that process so they could get into the colleges and come back not just to finish college, but to be leaders in the community.
An additional component of PACT's approach is to create a college-going culture among minority, first-generation, and socioeconomically disadvantaged communities.
I've been with the organization 30 years. The interesting thing about it is I was once upon a time a PACT student. PACT actually came to my high school years ago and was just such a explosive, exciting program. And all the students would migrate to the PACT person because of their level of expertise, their interest in the students, and PACT was very successful with students. That's what actually drew me to the program as well.
PACT educates and supports high school students in the college access process, empowering them to realize the dream of a brighter educational and financial future while becoming tomorrow's community leaders.
We have one student who was a scholarship recipient of ours, and he was able to get scholarship support and was able to finish school, Santa Clara University, and was able to do a bunch of internships during that time, and has recently landed a job at Google. So we're really, really proud of him. We're really proud that we were able to provide support. We get some grants, some support that way to provide scholarships, so that is definitely one success story.
We would like to see is that this becomes a symbol of a college-going culture that we feel needs to be developed. We feel it's just more than just the one-on-one, which we've been very successful at, but we need to just really engage the entire culture.
My best experience has probably been when we traveled to San Francisco and went to museums together, because I mean that's not something you can see every day, and it has a lot of history behind it.
I feel like PACT really increased my motivation of getting my education in school. Another help from them when we need help with our homework and everything, they have a classroom up at the campus, so if I need help on my homework, they'll help me in everything. It's really helpful.
My criteria that I wanted to do was software development or software engineer. And since we had to do a coding day, that really intrigued me with wanting to do the engineering more than I did in the first place.
PACT owns Fee Simple, a two-story painted lady Victorian building located at 635 Divisadero, just 1 block from the historic Alamo Square, which has housed PACT headquarters since 1970.
We want to refurbish the building and bring it up to standard, and that's going to take some doing. We want to look very attractive outside as well as inside. We want to be able to make it inside a kind of development that could house maybe technological developments that may come. We want to be able to do that out of here. We have a group of friends that we call the Friends of PACT, and we want that to expand. We want everybody to be a friend of PACT. And let's join the movement. We want to make this a movement, a college-going movement, representation movement, a movement that we are part of the future. And that's what we want to be.
The mission, vision, and values of PACT Incorporated are embedded in its very name, Plan of Action for Challenging Times.